Today on the podcast, we're talking about cover songs. Should you play them or should you leave them out of your set? What's better for you? We'll talk about that today. We'll see you on the inside. What's going on, everybody? How is it going? My name is Mike, and you have reached the Songwriters Planner podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I really try to say thank you every time an episode is posted. I really appreciate you guys swinging by, and if you are new here, thank you for finding me. Hopefully I can provide some kind of value to you as an artist or as a musician or whatever it is that you're into for on the music side of things. I also like to say that this podcast is available on Spotify, iTunes. You can subscribe there and get notified every time I have a new episode posted, which is every week. And I'll also like to mention that this podcast is on my YouTube channel if you want to see my face, which may or may not be a good thing depending on what you're seeing, depending on what day of the week it is. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. It's been really great doing these podcasts, putting them together. I've really also appreciated the feedback I've gotten from you guys on some of these issues. I try to do stuff that's meaningful to artists. I myself am a musician, and I try to think about things that other musicians are asking questions about and address them. So hopefully you guys agree with me, or if you disagree with me, please let me know in the comments. I love that kind of stuff, love the feedback. And also, if you get a chance, please check out the Songwriters Planner, which is a 6-month written planner. Yes, a 6-month written planner for artists and musicians to help keep us more inspired, productive, and creative. Love writing things down, so the planner is a fun thing to check out if you get a chance at songwritersplanner.com. Okay, guys, enough with the sales pitch, enough with all that stuff. Today's topic I wanted to talk about is cover songs. Now, this topic is kind of more addressed to artists if you're doing more of the original thing where you're trying to get your own music out. This isn't really talking about if you do covers for a living, say you're in a cover band and you play, however often you play, and the majority of your set is covers. That is completely okay and fine with me. I've been in that situation too. And in that case, your bread and butter is to play covers. But for today's topic, I want to talk about if you are a artist that's trying to push your own music, or you're in a band that's trying to push your own music, is it a good idea to include cover songs in your set? Over the years, I've heard so many opinions and sides of this story from some people saying I'll never play a cover, I don't learn covers, I don't waste time with learning covers, to of course I'm going to play covers. I love this song and I wanted to show the people, my audience, that it influenced me and I'm going to play it. So it's funny because we're all cut from the same cloth as far as musicians and artists, but we can have very different opinions about what we want to include in our set lists. There's many variables why you would want to include a cover or not include. Things like your set time. Do you have a short set? Do you have a 20-minute set, 30-minute set, or do you have 2 hours to fill? That can be help you decide whether you want to play some covers if you need to fill some time, or if you just don't have time to play them. That's one thing. Are you just starting out from your music, or have you been in the game for many, many years? Sometimes newer artists like to include covers with their music because it gets people into them faster maybe, or if they do a great job of a cover, it gets people interested in your music, hopefully. And then if you've been playing around for a while and you are very well established, you may not need the help of a cover song to attract an audience. You may already have a really good following. So there's a lot of different variables of why you would want or maybe not want to have covers in your music. So if you're new to cover songs, basically, it's basically you playing someone else's song. A song that was written by someone else. Could be a popular song, could be obscure, doesn't matter. There's many reasons to choose a specific cover song. Cover songs are very, very popular on YouTube. And the reason is because YouTube videos are searchable for keywords and things like that. So if there's a popular song on the radio, there's a lot of people that will go and try and cover that song because a lot of people are online searching for this particular song. And if you do a cover of it and you cover of that song and you name your video with the name of the song and you tag it with a bunch of tags referring to that song and that artist, you have better chances of being found by more people. It's a very common tactic on YouTube, and it has blown up the cover song market. I mean, as soon as a new song drops from a big artist, you're going to get covers of that song immediately on YouTube, like literally probably within the hour, because it's so easy to shoot a video and upload it. And many people have gone on to actually create very defined niches for themselves by doing covers of other people's songs on YouTube. Now, most of the time, the reason why a lot of people get a lot of views on YouTube because of the covers is because they do a spin on it, or they do their own version of a specific song. And sometimes if you do a really good one or a really catchy one, that can really take off on YouTube. Now, the odds are really stacked against you, especially if you're doing a song that's very popular and there's a lot of other people doing it. But covers in general have blown up on YouTube, and there's no doubt that playing covers, whether you're doing it for videos or whether you're going to do it live, is something to consider. Now, let's look at why you would not want to play a cover song, or why you would side to more not wanting to include them in your set. They take time to learn. You may not be focused on learning someone else's song if you're really trying to write your own songs. Especially if you're in a band format where you have multiple people to talk about to decide what song you're going to play, it may take time to figure out who all agrees on a certain song. If you're by yourself, if you're a solo artist, you may not have that issue. But if you are more focused on getting your music out, you might not even want to sit down and learn someone else's song. It may not feel genuine to you. It may not feel honest to you. And you know what? That's okay. That is completely okay if you feel that way. You're doing it you do music for your own reasons. So you may not just have time to do it. You may not be feeling doing a cover. It's not on your agenda. It's not on what you're feeling inside at this point. And that's completely okay. You can, sometimes playing covers can almost maybe distract your audience from your own music. I mean, especially if you do a really good one, it can almost be distracting if you're throwing a lot of covers into your set, but you're an original music, you're coming off as an original artist. It can be kind of confusing for the for the audience, what exactly that you're doing if you have so many covers in your set and you're playing so many covers and then you're kind of playing your original music. If you're playing an original show, so to speak, and you're playing more covers, then that could be confusing to the audience. They may not know exactly. They may not take you seriously. They may not take your music seriously because it may come across as you're relying on these cover songs too much. Now, again, this is more specifically for the original, someone who's doing a show for their original music, and this isn't a cover band show music. So that's something to think about, why you would maybe not want to include covers. You may just not be into anything that you want to share with your audience. You want your audience to focus on you. You want to be the focal point, not someone else's song. These are all valid reasons why you may not want to do a cover. And I've encountered them with other artists many times. I've worked with artists that just didn't feel like they wanted to play someone else's song. They really felt like, these are my songs. I've got X amount of time on stage. I'm going to play my best songs. And that's the focus of their set, and that's completely okay. And then you could have another artist that may feel differently. So let's look at a few reasons why you could include a cover in your original set. Okay, covers are great to pull people in. Especially if they don't know who you are and they don't know your songs yet, and you're playing them. A cover song played well or played like what you're doing can pull people into you. It can pull people in, and they can not just listen to your cover, but then they'll go, oh, okay, well, his music was great, and then he or she did a great rendition of this song, a Beatles song, whatever. It can actually have positive effects if you do it right, and if you choose a really good cover, something that you can play well. So that's a really good benefit of doing the cover songs. Again, another reason why you might want to try and do a cover song is, like I was saying earlier, you have basically you have to fill a whole bunch of time, and you have to play more songs in your set. So you got a 2-3 hour set, well, roughly 2 hour set, say that, and you're like, man, we gotta fill some time here. It's not necessarily the first reason why artists like to learn cover songs. We never really like to learn songs just to fill time. But the real world out there, the club owner or the person who booked the show may say, hey, can you play for 2 hours? and you're like, man, I really want to get my music out there, but this is a really good opportunity. I can get in with this club. It's pretty good money. Yeah, I can fill 2 hours. So boom, next thing you know, you're learning a couple cover songs and filling that time. So it can help in that sense, so that if you have to do that, you can do that, but you can still keep your focus on your music while having these covers, say, in your back pocket if you need to use them. Basically, like if you play a song that the audience knows and the audience likes, the majority of the audience likes, they're going to pay attention to you, or at least they're going to hum along and they're going to go, oh, I know this song. That can be helpful to you depending on how you see it. So it really comes down to your taste. What scenarios work for you? Because, you know, there's good reasons and there's reasons not to do it. As far as like playing a covers, when should it? Let me step back here before I get ahead of myself. Okay. Let's say there's other issues about playing covers. Let's say you do decide to do a cover song. When do you play that song? When do you play that cover song? Do you play it at the beginning of your set? Do you play it in the middle? Do you put it at the end? That place, that slot that you place that music has implications, and it means something. You know, if you play it first, you want to come out with something that people know, but then also too, people, you know, that's their first impression of you, and you come out and you play a cover song, they go like, oh, okay. It's kind of weird because they can be like, oh, okay, you start off with a cover, and then they just don't pay attention to anything else. Or you can end with the cover song, and that could be great because you could really end on a high note. Or you could be like, well, we're saving our best song for last, and it's a cover. It's positives and negatives of the way you look at it, and honestly, there's really no right or wrong reason or anything like that. With cover songs, there are no rules. The only thing I would say is that if you do decide to play a cover, you want to do it for the reasons that you feel are right for you, okay? And you want to do a song or a couple songs or many songs that you feel happy and comfortable with doing to mix in with your original music. As musicians, when we first start out, we basically learn covers. We learn other people's songs as we're learning our instrument, or we're doing vocal practice. You know, most likely we're learning and singing and playing other people's songs. That's just how we start. And then eventually you kind of start writing into going and doing your own music. Maybe you get into the original stuff, but we all start off somewhere, and it's usually following and covering and playing the songs of the people who have influenced us the most. So sometimes you may not even need to learn a new song. You may have 2 or 3 songs that you've known since the beginning that you really enjoy, and you can play those as your cover songs if you decide to do that. So this whole idea of playing a cover is it's one of those things I think that a lot of musicians struggle with. I think a lot of new artists can look at this and struggle with it because they're really, really excited to get their own music out. But yet playing a cover can really help people pull them in. Like I was saying earlier, it really depends on how you feel about it. Another thing I would say about covers, if you do decide to do them, is try and do a cover, try and do something different. Try and take a song that people know and then spin it in a way that makes it original for you, so that it's a little more interesting and it's different. It's something you're giving the audience something different and something that they're going to remember. If you play a song, you switch it up and you change it, maybe not change the format or anything, but change the feel of it, change the vibe, make it reggae, make it funky, make it more rock. I mean, there's a million different things you can do. Be creative, use a different instrument. Whatever the case is, if you make it more fun and creative, they'll have better chances of perking up. You want your audience to perk up and go, oh, what's that? What's that I hear? So putting a different spin on a popular cover song or doing something like that can benefit you if you feel like you want to put the time and the energy into doing something like that. You don't have to, obviously, but it is a good way to spin it and to get people to remember possibly who you are and that song that you played. There's many examples of artists at the national level who have come out and their first song was a cover. And for some artists that has helped them. For some, it's like you never hear from them again because that's all they had. Now, I don't mean to compare what's going on at the national level as opposed to what we're doing down in the trenches in the cities and in the coffee houses and the clubs. It's almost two different sides of the story there. But the same fears that I think we have apply no matter where you are about, wow, should I come out strong with the cover song or should I just leave it out of the set? Do I feel like my music is strong enough? I have a good opener and I have a good closer that I don't need a cover song. There's many ways you can shape that. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I think that it crosses our mind every now and then. I've been in many bands and we've always discussed, should we do a cover? And if we do, which one is it going to be? Some people feel different about playing covers than others. And if you're in a band situation, you got to deal with everybody's decision and ideas about cover songs. So that can be challenging. But in the end, I will say that playing cover songs can help you. Playing cover songs can derail you, but what it really comes down to is, what do you feel like doing? What do you think is better for you? Are you really supportive? I mean, do you really have strong feelings about including a specific song in your set that's going to enhance your music? And if you do, give it a shot. Give it a try. Play some shows, play a couple covers, and see what people respond to. If they respond to them, great. And if not, then don't worry about it. Play your music, I would say it really comes down to what you think is right for you and what you think is going to help put eyes and ears on your music in the end, because that's what you want. You want, for your original music, you want people to look at you, to press play on your own songs. And if a cover you think after trial and error can help you with that, then great, do it. And if not, and you just don't feel like you want to put in the time, then don't do it. There are no rules. There are no rules at all. It really is all about you and your music. I keep repeating that. I sound like a broken record, but it is true. And I hope that you find that motivating for you to do your own thing always. And always keep your mind open as to what's going to help you and your music, whether it's a cover song or not. Okay? All right, guys. Thanks for joining me on this podcast today. I really appreciate you swinging by. Thank you so much. Please check out the Songwriters Planner. Go ahead and check out Spotify and iTunes. You can find this podcast on there and YouTube. And I'll see you in the next episode. Peace and love.